Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 7th episode of the Extra Innings podcast. My name is Owen Kling, your host. Today we're joined by SFCBL Commissioner and current area scout for the Kansas City Royals, Nick Presto. Nick, happy to have you on. How are you?
Hey, doing well. Thank you, Owen. Appreciate it. I'm ready for a good summer.
Yeah, absolutely. As you know, today we're just 5 days away. June 1st is literally right around the corner now. Earlier this year you would have thought, the year always is going to take long to get to June, but once you get through May, or even to May, those last 30 days before the season starts, it's just like a time warp, right? It's just too fast.
No question. It goes quick.
Well, speaking of 2024 in general, the league has gone through a multitude of changes, whether it be from, the logo, just everything in general, from our partnerships, new teams, new staff, everything. And again, in past episodes, we've discussed that, but with you, we can really dive into it more because you're at the head of the league, you're kind of overseeing everything. So to start off with something easy, let's just kind of discuss the rebrand. You got it on your brand new polo there, got a nice little visor on today. So, just kind of take us through that change and how it kind of brightens the league.
Yeah, I think it was a great upgrade from what we were. We needed to update some things, and I think the logo is great. I think you guys did a great job with it.
Yeah, I think the blue, the white, the gray, the black, it's all just more of a more natural tone than the colors we had before. But again,
I love the royal blue.
Well, being a Kansas City Royals scout and myself being from Kansas City, hey, I can't complain either, right? So moving on from that, speaking of colors and things like that, there's a bunch of new colors in the league now because we have 4 new teams. So can you kind of just dive into what that was like, adding in the iguanas, the hooks, the X team, and the Makos?
Yeah, I think it's a great addition. We wanted to target big baseball people in the area that are from the community, that are high character people, and I think we did a heck of a job doing that. First, we went and got Brooke Fordyce, former Major League player, which led us over to Joe Gemelli and Felipe Suarez and Brandon Cooney. I had part of signing Brandon Cooney, which is pretty cool. And then eventually led us down into St. Thomas for the Makos with George Perez. And, I always said it when I was on the advisory board here that, it was always tough to be called the South Florida Collegiate League and not be including Dade County. I thought that was a big part of it. I think there's a ton of players down there. It opens up opportunities for them, their coaches, and that's what we're all about.
Yeah, I think that I've always kind of struggled with that as well, right? South Florida, everybody's assuming Miami, right? Mm-hmm. When you say South Florida, South Beach, it's Miami. It's not the 561, it's the 305, right? Yeah. So
and the 954.
Well, yeah, there's a bunch of zip codes and area codes down there, but we'll take them all, right?
That's right.
So not just the addition of the teams being what's making the league bigger, but what does those 4 teams coming in really mean for the league as it actually grows?
Well, I think they bring players. They bring a group of players. They have access to a bunch of players, at Kaiser University and St. Thomas and the Travel X team and the Independent Hooks. They were all original. They were already teams. So they have a group of players to bring, and they bring fields. So I think that was big. I think but number one, we're in this. We want people that are well experienced baseball people that have high character, and that's kind of what brought us to those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, you want good people in a good organization, and I think we have that, especially with the additions that we brought in this year. So again, these 4 teams coming in. Now, how does that change the narrative of the SFCBL from a competitiveness standpoint, right? Because like you said, they're bringing in more players, but they're bringing more players that are from, different nationalities, different conferences, different states. We've always had a mixture of players, whether it be from the NAIA JUCOs all the way up to Division One. But for the Makos, for example, they have a lot of homegrown talent, essentially, coming straight from St. Thomas University, which is where the Makos will be playing. It's also where George Perez is the coach. So, different dynamics like that. In Kaiser as well with Brooke. How do those 2 teams and the others kind of change the way the league runs because of those dynamics of having the players already? How does that change the league?
Well, I just think it opens up opportunities for players where, Felipe Suarez is a great pitching guy down there in Broward County, where some of his guys would be throwing bullpens because he didn't know who they were going to be playing for in the summer. So now they have an opportunity to do their bullpens and get taught by him and pitch in the league and learn how to pitch. Same thing with St. Thomas. St. Thomas is access to Dade County. We weren't getting as many Dade County kids as we probably should have, due to distance or what have you. I think it's just a huge thing. And then Kaiser, again, you got a former big leaguer. He knows his stuff. They got a great program. They're rolling. I mean, they got to the regionals here with the NAIA. And again, it's right in the heart of Palm Beach County.
Right.
So I think it just brings access to players. And what we're trying to facilitate here is opportunity. That's the bottom line. We are given opportunity. You want opportunity to play. You want opportunity to coach. We want opportunity to be interns. Whatever you want to do, we want to be able to facilitate some kind of step to help you do what you want to do.
Right. Absolutely. And speaking about the opportunities, right? This year we have 6 players from the Israel national team they're going to be playing in the league on various teams, and despite the conflicts happening back at their home, I think that not only does this give them the opportunity to continue chasing their dream of what they love doing with baseball, but can you kind of expand on what that means for the league and, again, those players?
I think it's great. When it came to us, I was like, let's go. We're getting ready. We have the ability to bring in players from a national team that, again, giving them opportunity to play. I think it's a great opportunity for them and us. And who knows? The one thing about baseball is you never know what is going to be on that field when you see them. And, they show up and they're guys. We'll get them taken care of, whether college, pro, whatever we need to do. But it goes back to opportunity. And I think when I heard that right away, hey, these guys don't have a place to play. They're going through some stuff, obviously. Let's go. Let's facilitate it and make it work.
Yeah, and I think that's, again, just goes back to what you've been saying and preaching. It's like we're all about the opportunity for the players. So I think that, those 6 guys, obviously we wish it could be all of them. But, just being able to help in some sort of way with that is great. So kind of moving away from the players themselves, let's go back to the teams, right? This year, because of the expansion, it seems like teams have signed even better players, right? There's some teams that in the past may have gotten a few bigger names, but it seems like almost every team has a big name on it. That's not necessarily like a household name like Tommy White from LSU or things like that, but just big D1 guys in general. So because of that, I'd like to get your take on who you think will be kind of like the top 4 teams this year in the SFCBL, just because of the wide variety of different players, from different conferences. And again, it's not always going to be the D1 guy that's the best guy on the team, right? It could be a JUCO kid that hit 450 with 20 bombs, right? So I just want to see, who you think, just based off rosters. Again, we haven't seen these guys play just yet, but what you think those 4 teams would be.
Well, my first thought of this is roster is way different than the guys that show up a lot of times dealing with college leagues. But, traditionally the Snappers are a really good team. They've always been, they have like a little bit of a culture thing going, and they play the game the right way. They get after it. The Lightning have always been good. They play at a great facility. And I'm anxious to see what like Kaiser's going to look like, or not Kaiser, but the West Palm Iguanas are going to look like. And it's funny, the Iguanas, they got a great name because I saw like the biggest one in my life a couple weeks ago when I went to see Southeastern play Kaiser the other day. And I'm anxious to see, you know, the Makos down there in Miami. Anxious to see what their thing's going to look like. Traditionally, a great program down there at St. Thomas University. Big league players. I mean, they come out of there. So, and they got a great facility,
Right.
which I think it's going to work wonders for the league going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think that you kind of hit the nail on the head there for what teams are going to, you know, potentially do well, right? Again, that's just a guess. You know, it may be 4 different teams that are the top 4 in the league, and not that we wish this, but those 4 teams you mentioned could end up at the bottom of the league.
Could be at the bottom.
So,
I don't know. I just off the top of my head.
Right. But you know, that's always going to be, you know, interesting to watch throughout the summer as, you know, those players develop, and also the team chemistry. Because like you did mention, you know, the Snappers, they are the only team in the SFCBL to have a three-peat, you know, 2018, 19, and 20.
Yeah.
Again, we haven't seen them quite make it back to one since, but, you know, hey, it's a new year, right? We're right there for them. So, kind of continuing down the path of the newness of the SFCBL, let's dive into some staff additions, right? I mean, again, you've been promoted to the commissioner role, which is great. We have a new president in Larry Allentoff. You know, your advisory board was full of Major League scouts, and, you know, we have our pitching group consisting of Joe Gray, Justin Allentoff, and Chris Graffeo. So maybe touch on that a little bit, and then we'll go into some other staff additions.
Yeah, we brought Joe Gray in. That was one of the first things we did. I thought we needed a pitching guy. We needed a guy who's been in this league, that kind of knows how it runs. He was probably a pitching coach for 3 years, maybe 4. I go way back with him. He's played at every level. He knows exactly what these kids are going through every day. He's played at high school. He's played junior college. He's played at University of Miami. He's played in the minor leagues. He's played in the big leagues. And he's started. He's relieved. He's done everything that he need. You know, that a pitcher goes through. He understands the mental side of the game more than anybody. Mechanically, he's a good guy. But I want him in position to be there for the pitchers, and let the pitchers gravitate to him and take it as far as they can. I mean, you got a major league pitcher sitting here who's done everything you want to do. It's a guy that probably gravitate towards. Justin Allentoff came in kind of under him. He's pitched at just about every level. He's an independent ball pitcher right now. Pitched at Lynn, pitched at University of Florida, pitched at Dwyer High School. I mean, he's a local guy. He pitched in this league. Knows exactly what we're looking for, and I just want those guys in position to, like, help the league, help the players, help the coaches coach, because that's what we're here for. Again, facilitate an opportunity. That's what we want to do. Like, that's such a big thing. I was so fortunate getting that when I was a kid coming down here. That's what it's about. And Joe and I are aligned to what kind of learned baseball from the same people. And, you know, he's got an idea. We need to use him. I'd like to see the pitchers use him as much as they can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Along with their pitching coach, you know, working in concert.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, kind of what you were mentioning there is how you and Joe are so similar in what you know, and maybe you can jump into the local pitcher program with that. You know, how did that come about? You know, was that a collaboration from, you know, you and Joe, or is it more of your own thing? But again, just to get more people in front of Joe to, you know, hopefully help them further develop.
Well, I mean, I just think we're getting money from different sources that is great, and my idea was put the money back into the league for players, especially local pitchers that are in this area. We want to be able to fund whatever we need to fund, and it was I kind of had this thought a few years ago about this, but I didn't know how to input it and put it in position. But when I came in, I kind of, there's 10 guys or so that took advantage of it, and I hope next year we have 40 guys that take advantage of it, because it's a great program, and once they see what the player's gonna get out of this thing is gonna be completely worth it. 110%. I got the advisory board full of Major League Scouts, and those guys know the players. They know the area inside and out. They know what's here. They know what's going on, and we got to use these guys, and they're a big part of this league here. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you didn't just hear that, basically Commissioner Presto's saying, if you live in Florida and you're local to where the league plays, come play for us.
Yeah.
We need you. We want you. Pitching is always one of those things that can be difficult to find, and I think a lot of teams noticed that this year. But also with that expansion, you're trying to look for even more arms as well.
Yeah, so. and I talked to some pitchers recently, who didn't throw many innings this year in college, and they said they want to train in the summer. I'll tell you what the good ones do. They train and they pitch, because you got to learn how to pitch, and to get on that roster and get that pitching time, those guys can pitch, and it's great to throw hard and everything, and chase velocity and do things that people need to do, but you need to be able to pitch. So that's why we bring guys like Joe in.
Yeah, for sure, and not just Joe. You can mention Rob Oristaglio with Ultimate Athletes. He's got a kind of one-of-a-kind program that's going to be able to be utilized by both pitchers and position players. But top program that they can use on their phone. At a price that's unheard of. The equipment and technology that he's going to be using for them is not cheap. And we're not just throwing it out there because he's part of the league, but the reality is that these players are going to have access to something that they otherwise wouldn't, and that's all thanks to Rob and what he's put together with the Ultimate Athletes app. That's going to be vital for those that take advantage of it. And it's not just the app; he's holding a pro day as well for these guys that are using the app, so they can get some real results and visualize how they're improving over the course of this summer. So
he was big bringing him into the league. He's on the board, and we're able to facilitate him helping these players, giving them opportunity. Again, the player's gonna take it as far as it goes. I mean, you get out what you put in. So I encourage every guy to get after it and do what you need to do. When you come here to play college baseball, when you go to any league, I've played all over all over the states. You're there to play. You're there to play. You're there to do what you need to do to make yourself better. By the time you get back to your college, you're better than you left, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, like we've been saying, there's a lot of things in place to make sure that those players do go back to their respective schools, universities, colleges better than they came in. So, aside from just the training side of things, we've actually really expanded the league on the side of sponsorships, right? This year has been a real rebuild of the league and a real expansion, not again just with the teams, but just with what the league is doing and what we're capable of now. So, I'm going to read off some of the main sponsorships that we have, and we'll kind of talk through some of them. With first being with Gamecast Live or GK Live TV. This opportunity came to us, and we had to jump on it. It's probably the best things that's happened for the league, and I say that because it allows everyone to watch every single SFCBL game over the course of the summer, wherever they're at in the world. They could be in Iraq, in Kansas, in Florida. It doesn't matter where you're at, as long as you have a connection to Wi-Fi. or even cell service, you'll be able to see your favorite SFCBL player, whether it be your child or your grandchild or just one of your friends, and all at a reasonable price. All things considered. Aside from GK Live, we also have a partnership and sponsorship through Marucci, which is carrying all the Victus wood bats, lizard skins, and Marucci products. 100% sunglasses company. It's a big one. They have some athletes like Ellie De La Cruz and Fernando Tatis that use their products. So definitely jump on our website, sfcbl.com, and take a look at our 100% SFCBL store to hopefully get some shades for you for this Florida heat. Moving on from those, we have Delray's Finest Signs, who is our opening day sponsor this year, which we're very thankful for. And if you can see, the banner behind Commissioner Presto is actually from Delray's Finest Signs, and we definitely look forward to having them out at opening day here on Saturday. Couple more. We got Marriott Hotels, the Spring Hill Suites and Town Place Suites at Boca Raton are the official league hotels of the SFCBL. And Netting Professionals. Netting Professionals is a baseball netting company who has provided some valuable equipment for some of our fields in the league. Touching real quick back on the hotels, Nick, can you kind of describe what that partnership means and what the value is there for not just the players but the parents as well?
I think the Marriott Hotel setup is really unbelievable. I mean, when you come down to it, it helps us. It lets us house the players. They get fed breakfast in the morning, and it's a great setup for the team owners. It's right there off of Yamato Road in 95, centrally located. It's a great setup. I mean, it for a parent to come down in the summer and watch a kid play, and they're spending $85 a night to stay in a hotel is unheard of, and I think it's a great thing. It's big for this league. Florida's not generally known as a host family type of setup because people are doing different things, and it's a huge setup for us. And being a Marriott, I'm a Marriott member myself, and they have a great business, and it's all our players are all in one spot. It's really a great setup to be the official hotel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that again, having them centralized is the biggest thing, right? Especially this year with the expansion going south and north, right? Mm-hmm. If you're in Miami, you got to drive all the way to West Palm. That's not the best drive, or not the shortest drive. But being centrally located in Boca at the hotels obviously is a great position to be in for a lot of the players that are staying there. And again, that parent rate of $85 a night, that saves you about $50 a night compared to the normal hotel rates. And again, during the summer, like you said, that's just unheard of. So very appreciative of that. But let's touch base on Gamecast. GK Live TV, right? It's a new partnership for us. Happened really quick in the last probably month or so, and it's going to allow, like I said, everybody or whoever wants to watch SFCBL games. You get the season pass and you get to watch your favorite team and all the other teams. Currently, up until June 1st, if you buy the pass, it's $139.99, and you get an extra link for a family member for free. So basically 2 for 1. Get yourself one and then send it off to the grandparents, or buy one for your sister and then give the other one to your parents. Whatever it is, last one for the players there. But also, our game of the week is an option. It's the only single game option that you can buy through them, but that's one of our more premier events usually throughout the course of the summer, besides our opening day, all-star game, stuff like that in the playoffs. So you'll be able to watch that. And I just want to get your thoughts on that, Nick. What does it mean to be able to see them, what from a scouting perspective, from a parent-player perspective, and just a baseball enthusiast perspective as well?
I think it's great. I think it's a great addition. I thought it was huge when we got it. I think it's great for a family member to be sitting up north or something and being able to tune into a game during the day or night, every night. I think that's outstanding. Scouting's perspective is more like if we need to go back and see a guy pitch, we could probably get back and watch that game, watch guys at bats. That it's available, and it's available everything going forward. So if we go back for 2 years and watch NATO play in the league, and Nolan Shanuel, guys like that, we can go back and track those at bats and see what they're doing differently, 2 years ago than what they're doing now. And I think it's just a great setup. I think it's very, I think it raises the bar for the whole league. That everything's on video and everything is being streamed constantly.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, the pass currently is $139.99, and you get a free link for a family member up until June 1st. After that, they have mentioned a slight price increase, but I definitely want to get that pass so that you're able to watch all the games, because there is not a single game option. You do buy the season in full, but the way I explain it to a lot of people is that it's cheaper than a plane ticket. Yeah. Whether if you're coming from California, Alabama, wherever, it's going to be cheaper than the travel, and you still get to see, for parents, your favorite player, grandparents, your favorite player, or as your friends, your favorite player as well. So, again, one of probably the best things that's happened for the league with GK Live. So, kind of getting away from the league stuff now, Nick, let's kind of talk about you as a person. You're currently working with the Kansas City Royals as an area scout. Obviously, you're the South Florida Collegiate League commissioner. And I kind of want to just ask you, in both of those roles, who are you when it comes to being a scout and the commissioner? Why do you like being a scout? And then why did you take on the role of a commissioner? And what led you to both of those and your goals and dreams for those? So that was a lot to handle. Yeah. Sorry. Let's start with you from the scouting side. Who you are as a scout, why you like doing it, what made you do it, and what your goals are as a scout.
Yeah, I think as a scout, you're just a diligent guy that gets after and works hard. You go to the yard every day. You go to multiple yards often. A lot of relationships with coaches and players. I do it probably because I want to have an opportunity to change kids' lives. I think that's a big part of it. I want to be in the game. It's a great job. I wouldn't even call it a job, but you hustle and you go. It's just kind of what I do. I just do. I go to the next thing, but that's kind of why I do it. I got into it. The Orioles hired me in 2000 after being done as a player, and couldn't ask for a better thing. I had plenty of opportunities to go into coaching, college, and pro, and kind of picked the right thing. I think with family, having a family and everything, and it's worked out pretty good.
Yeah, definitely, and that's obviously what you want to do in life, right? Is do what you feel is right. It's never somebody else's decision. Kind of fast forwarding to now, again, you've been with the league in different various roles for multiple years, but really this year, stepping up to the plate as the commissioner, no pun intended. Kind of take us through that process and what made you want to take on that opportunity and what your experience brings to the league.
I just think it brings when Larry came to me and asked me if I wanted to do this, I kind of thought about it, and I said, I'm going to be at the fields anyway, and I kind of think I know how it's run. From a baseball side of things. I'm not the day-to-day guy, which is you and Bill.
Right.
But I think from the baseball side of things, I want to see certain things happen and certain things move, like going into Dade County and getting some of the better adding to the good baseball people we have already, and keep adding. I want to just keep adding to the force we got. And that's kind of where I was able to do it. I said, you know what, this wouldn't be a bad deal. This is kind of a good thing. I'm on the field. I'm at the games anyway, so could do both.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
I mean, again, you're in one of those roles as the commissioner where, yes, you have, like you mentioned, myself and Bill Hansack, our operations um, manager, that are handling more of the day-to-day operations and marketing side of the league. But as a commissioner, you kind of get to pick what you're seeing, doing, what you're over. So I guess, yeah, as a traveling baseball scout, it's kind of the right fit for you.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. Now, as a scout, obviously, you're usually scouting high school seniors going into college, or maybe sometimes even younger, but mostly, those high school seniors and obviously the college guys. So let's dive into college baseball for a little bit and, really kind of discuss some of the newness around that, what's, been changing, and some of the aspects that you've seen, traveling around and watching some collegiate baseball. So one of the newest things that came out recently was with the Southeastern Conference tournament. They implemented a double first base, and as a player, way back in 2015, I don't even remember what my last year playing was, but I don't think it was that far ago. But I don't ever really remember playing with the double first base. So if you've seen it or you know of the idea, can you kind of just expand on what the purpose of that is and how it changes the game?
Yeah, I saw it on TV with the SEC. I think it's a great thing. I've been saying it for years. You should have double base there at first base. I know a lot of, and I am a traditionalist, but a lot of the guys, say, nah, we don't. But I think it's a great thing because it allows the player to stay in the lane. I don't know how many times I did a drag bunt or something, and you're on the grass, man. You have to get into that lane, and sure enough, throw up the line, guys aren't reading guys' feet, and they're not sliding, and separated shoulder, hit in the face, whatever it is. And then the other one is you're hustling down the line, you get hit in the back, and you get called out. I think that the double base is a good thing, and what I saw in the SEC yesterday, I think I watched a little bit. I watched that game. I think it works good. I think it's a good thing. I don't like everything that's new, but
yeah, right. I mean, and that's why I'm keeping it something maybe a little bit even newer than those. No need to drive back through the old changes now, if you want to call them old, but newness still to baseball with the pitch clock and everything like that. But one of the main things that you didn't necessarily get to experience as a collegiate athlete was NIL. NIL is a big thing now. You see it with players transferring from mid majors to those big Power 5, Big 12, SEC schools. Almost really after their sophomore seasons anymore, right? To name a few, we had Jackson Ross at FAU, right? Yeah. He tore it up with FAU, and nowadays it's expected that if you have a good season, you're moving. So, he's with Ole Miss now, again, still tearing it up. Same thing with Dylan Goldstein, did real well with FAU, is at Georgia now. Both of those guys, I believe, are in regionals now. Yeah. And that's a great thing, right? As somebody that, dealt with more of the player operations side of things with FAU, it's cool to see those guys kind of moving through the ranks theoretically and, hopefully making it to the majors. Not to mention one, Nolan Shanuel, who definitely got there pretty quick. But kind of take me through how you've seen NIL. Has it changed the fan atmosphere at games? Has it changed anything of when you're scouting a player? Does it change how you view them or anything with it really? How does NIL affect the scouting pool?
For me, it doesn't change anything about it. It doesn't affect any judgment of the player. A lot of times, like Nolan had a chance to leave. He didn't leave, and he could have chased some money, and I'm not saying not to whatever, but what I kind of try to do is get the reasons. Why'd you leave? Oh, they offered me to. Okay, I'm never gonna tell anybody that you should do this or do that. You just got to kind of get the reasons why and the reasons why you didn't, but I don't really think it's changed the game. I think it's raised the bar. I think we're turning into these super teams, and there's some good to that. There's some also not so good, but it also raises the bar. When I was playing in college, we could leave. I mean, we didn't get paid, but we can go other places. I remember those days when coaches in the Cape would come to Cape Cod and sit there for 2 weeks and see who the best players were. I was approached. I mean, you just had to get a release back then. But I don't know. It's baseball. It's still baseball, and you just go.
Right. Yeah. And again, like, there's going to be so much more in the next 25 years, 30 years, right? This is just the tip of, what can happen in collegiate athletics, and again, it's not just baseball. But sticking with baseball, let's kind of talk about some changes with it, right? So mainly in collegiate pitching, right? You're seeing a lot more guys throwing harder, faster. The pitch clock, now being implemented in a lot of conferences, first in the SEC, now in the American Conference and others. Kind of take me through what you've seen as changes to the collegiate pitching realm.
I mean, we're seeing guys chase velocity. We're seeing the heavy balls. We're seeing chasing velocity. I don't know much about that stuff, like as far as if it works, if it doesn't work. Kind of everything that I used to look for in pitching, some people have told me is wrong. Big body, loose arm, fast, out front, feel for the zone. That's kind of what we're still chasing. But a lot of the guys are doing, the short arms, the short arm action, the max effort, every pitch, spin the ball as hard as you can. I don't know. I think the guys that are piling on the innings, it's hard to do that every pitch, but that's what's going on. They're chasing velocity, they're beating barrels up in the zone. Guys want the ball down out over the plate, the hitters, and they're pitching up. Because they're teaching an uphill swing, and we beat the barrel above the zone, and that's kind of what we're seeing. That's why we're seeing a lot of home runs. In my day, when I was playing, pitchers didn't pitch up in the zone because they'd be out of the game in the second inning. You throw a right-handed hitter up in the zone, and you're in trouble. But they're doing it like crazy now, and that's why they're setting records with home runs.
Yeah, that's what I was going to dive into next. Is the number of pure power hitters, it's through the roof. I mean, the number of home runs is through the roof. I mean, some of the guys that you're seeing are obviously bigger names like Tommy White and stuff at LSU, but there's guys doing it in D3, NII JUCO schools that are setting school records now. And does that contribute to different factors, whether it be their strength and conditioning program, the bat they're using, or is it just aggression from the player? Like I know metal bats obviously they make a ball travel a lot faster than a wood bat, but I mean nowadays it might be pretty close with how strong some of these guys are. So what is your take on that? What do you think is causing this influx of power hitters?
Yeah, I think it's strength. It's strength. It's bats. It's the bats, the balls. I mean everything's wound tighter. Balls are jumping. I was at the ACC tournament. I think the first day was 17 home runs in 3 games. I think I could be off on that, but they set a record there. It's throwers versus guys that are trying to do damage. Throwers against guys that do damage. There's going to be some damage that happens.
Right.
I always love to see the guys go back to pitching, but they're chasing velocity and the hitters are chasing power.
Right. It's not just throwing the ball and catching the ball anymore. There's so many more things added into it. Personally, I thought when things were going to start changing with pitching, I thought it was going to be they're going to come out with all this new set of different grips and stuff. Like I thought it would just be literally new types of pitches, but now it's the same things, just faster, right? It's like it's interesting to watch for sure. Again, we're going to have some pretty good arms in the league as well that'll kind of give viewers that are watching through GK live streams or even at the games in person a kind of a good perspective of what college baseball is like now. I think for yourself and some others that maybe don't watch the college game as much. I mean, not that you don't watch it, sorry, but some that don't they'll be like, wow, the game has changed, and it'll be a lot faster paced. But again, I think in our league, we have time limits, but we don't have a pitch clock, so the games may still seem a little longer than some, but it's all about getting those players those opportunities. So if it takes a couple minutes, that's fine.
Yeah.
So before we kind of jump into some of your favorite things, I'm actually going to go through your playing career a little bit more. So, you mentioned to me before we started the podcast that you played your high school ball at Jupiter High School, and then you spent your time in college at Florida Atlantic University. We're both FAU alums, so go Owls. And then you were with the Cincinnati Reds organization from 1996 to 2000. Yep. So kind of just take me through your playing career. Really even dive back farther than high school if you want to really give me a full picture of when you started, picking up a baseball and a bat for the first time.
Yeah, I don't know. When I started, my memory's not great back then, but I came from New Jersey and I moved to, was fortunate enough in 1990, January 25th, to move down to Jupiter, Florida, which was like Okeechobee back then, but I went out. I hadn't picked up a baseball since like July, and I just come off football season, and Coach Craig Gibson was the head coach there, and he said, "You're going to be my starting second baseman." I'm like, "Wow," and then it just kind of grew from there. The one thing I could say is I was very fortunate for the people I played for. I mean, Craig Gibson at Jupiter, into Doug Ferguson, into Craig Gibson's Kevin O'Sullivan and Joe Russo and Bob Shaw in the summer, and over to Florida Atlantic with Kevin Cooney and John McCormick, and again Kevin O'Sullivan again. Then we run up to Steve Whitaker as the hitting coach. I mean, it's just the line of coaches that have coached me. I was so fortunate. Even guys that I grew up with as kids were legends in New Jersey where they were at. I've just always been around, seemed to be around good coaches, and I'm sure I'm missing guys and throwing, going past guys that I played for. But even in the minor leagues, played for great coaches, guys that really poured into the player, wanted you to get better, and so that's where I come from. What a big part of it is getting these kids around the right people that have high character and are into work ethic and all that stuff, because they can make a difference. And they made a difference for me. I can tell you that right now. And to be saying, when I came down here in 1990 as a sophomore in January, and I was going to play pro ball and go to Florida Atlantic and play Division I baseball, I would have thought you were crazy.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I think that's the story for everyone. You never know what truly is going to come next for you, right? You can always guess or cheat to find out, whatever it is, but you really truly never know exactly what's coming next. So with that being said, really, in 2000, when your playing career came to an end, you quickly got into scouting with the Orioles, for 11 years. That's a long time. And I remember I met you at a Viera high school baseball game, so kind of full circle moment. I'm in high school dealing with baseball stuff, and now you're there, back at a high school situation scouting. When you were with the Pirates, and it's like, it's just cool to see it's kind of full circle, and here we are talking now. I
remember I went to that game to watch a catcher at Vanderbilt.
Yep.
Espinal.
Yep. He actually played in the league as well with the Buccaneers.
Yes.
I believe that was 2020. That was a tough time with everything going on in the world, but he's emerged as a starter over at Vanderbilt as well. So that's another guy that we'll be watching this summer to see if he goes to the big leagues. So hopefully that happens. So shout out to 2020 Bucks alum Alan Espinal there. But
so the way I got into scouting was that there was a guy that scouted me, Dean DeSillis, who was with the Orioles, and he was getting moved up. And he said, "Hey man, we can give you this job, and it's gonna be, you don't have to move, and you can do South Florida." And the reason why that happened like that is because every time he came into Palm Beach County, he would call me up after I was playing pro ball, and he'd say, "Hey, you know this kid over here? You know this guy over here? You know this guy?" and kind of I would tell them things. Hey, because as a player, I was the type of player who was a scout on the field. I was always scouting the other players because I needed little advantages to get by. And so I kind of knew the players. I knew what they could do. I knew what they couldn't do. So, and it just worked out like that. And I just saw Dean the other day, and great guy. He's doing big things. He's with Atlanta now, and yeah. So I've been fortunate to be around the right people. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, and I think everything that's preached these days, and regardless of what industry you're in, is connections, and obviously you've had all the good ones, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, baseball is a relationship business.
Right.
Whether they say whatever they want from the numbers and all that, it still comes down to relationships.
Right.
We can have all the numbers we want, but we can't run a business. We can't run a league if you can't implement the stuff and tell the people that the way to do it.
Right. Right.
Foster relationships. That's what it's about.
Yeah. So, one last scouting question for you.
Okay.
From a player's perspective, right? Kids that come into the league, they're looking to get to that next level, whether it be Major League Baseball, independent ball. What would you tell them that you're looking for, right? I mean, because a lot of guys may assume, it's all about my stats being the best they can be. No, I mean, you not you specifically, but teams take guys that are hitting, under 300 and then develop them. So what is it for you as a scout that you look for specifically when you're scouting a guy?
Well, first of all, this league is set up for a player to come in and establish a routine.
Right.
They have to get into a routine. The only way you can get better in this game was establishing a routine of working out, sleep, field, work. Your routine every day has got to be somewhat the same. And that's the way you can make jumps as a player. Now, I learned that when I went to the Cape Cod League for the first year, and I started watching these great players. And I said, man, what does this guy do? What does Darren Erstad do? Oh, he does this, and then he does that. You know what? I'm going to copy that guy because he's going to be the first pick of the draft. And I watched the other shortstop play, and I said, man, look what he does during the pregame. So that's the kind of stuff you have to get into a routine. What I'm looking for guys that want to be on the field. They just want to be on the field. And they have tools and skills. And believe me, I love the big guys. I love them big. They can run. We love the guys that throw hard. But I'm telling you, it comes down to the character and the work ethic of the player. Because most of them are all in this little box here. They're all the same. So who's the guy that when he has to go to the cages, he runs to the cages? Who's the guy that walks to the cages? Who's the guy who mopes on the field? Who's the guy who hustles every time down the line? These are the things we're looking for when we're trying to make a decision on a player. So what I would tell a kid, work as hard as you can. You never know who's on the field watching you. You never know what that's going to lead to in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe 5 years. You never know where it's coming from. Right. Hey, you ever play for this guy? I talked to a kid today that I met 4 years ago in this league. Literally talked to him today. And I ended up seeing him pitch, and I called him today. Hey, you want to play? You ready to go? Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff, you never know where it's coming from. But players always ask me what they need to do to get drafted and all that. And listen, the numbers are regardless. You got to be a good player. Right. I mean that's the bottom line. I mean we know that. But when you're the same as the other guy, sometimes you got to look at yourself and say, why did he get a chance and I didn't?
Right.
Why did he get that scholarship and I didn't? You look in the mirror. How's my routine? Am I sleeping in all day, or am I going to the weight room early in the morning? Am I running in the morning, getting my running done? Am I, so, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, definitely.
We're looking for separators.
Yeah, and one of those things that wasn't quite mentioned there, but I think you're getting to the point is nutrition, right? That's another big part of
Absolutely.
Not on the scouting side of things, but just as a baseball player in general.
Yeah.
And totally blanked on mentioning them earlier. So sorry, Ideal Nutrition. Sorry. But we do have a partnership with Ideal Nutrition that's going to really help these guys in the hotel, and even if they aren't staying at the hotel, eat cleanly, healthy, freshly prepared meals, right? So, we'll have more information for the players on that, on Sunday, which crazy to say Sunday instead of, June 2nd, like it's so far away, but it's coming up. So, that's another great partnership that we have that's really going to help these players, just get into that routine like you were mentioning. So, that's kind of all the talk as far as you as a player, as a coach, or as a scout, and touching on the league stuff. So let's kind of just dive into a couple fun topics. I always do this at the end of the podcast or towards the end of the podcast just to get some fun answers and see where you're at on certain things. So to start, who is your favorite MLB team?
Well, Kansas City Royals.
Hey, I can't blame you there. That's a good one.
I was a New York Yankee fan growing up until they traded David Wells. And I was in the minor leagues, and I rooted for obviously, I was a Reds fan then, too, but I was about done when they traded David Wells, so.
All right. Well, it's good to hear that we got some mutual respect for the Royals, who are having, honestly, a kind of unbelievable start to their year.
Unbelievable. Absolutely
unbelievable.
It's been great. It's a great group. They've put together a great group. They've done a great job.
Yeah, and
they play hard, man. They play fast. They play a different style of game, and it's really fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
Refreshing.
So moving on from the team side of things, give me your favorite MLB player when you were playing, whether it be high school through college, and then somebody now that you're really a big fan of.
Growing up, I was Nettles and then into Mattingly. Those were my guys, and they were easy to root for, the way they played, and then I don't know, favorite players. Bobby Witt's fun to watch. I was a part of signing Machado, Manny Machado. He's fun to watch, and
right.
So yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, one of the most controversial picks usually. This is this question's answer, and it's your favorite favorite baseball movie.
I'd have to say The Natural.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I would say The Natural.
Yeah. For
Bobby Redford.
For me, it's always been Sandlot, but I always like
that's cool.
Watching all of I can't really pick one. So a couple more favorite things. Favorite food and favorite color.
Color royal blue. Royals and the New York Football Giants. But what was the first one? Food?
Yeah.
It's got to be something Italian. Eggplant parm probably.
Oh man, that's a common answer, huh? Only for the Italians, but yeah. Hey, well that was a great conversation there. Again, we're only 5 days away from opening day, presented by Delray's Finest Signs, and then Sunday is our media day, which will be great. Looking forward to that as well. We'll get to really kind of see every player and get some good photos done with them, some green screen stuff like that. But it'll be a really good start to the season, kind of a real kickoff to the season after opening day, because opening day will be a little hectic with all 14 teams playing. We start at 11 a.m. on Saturday. Got 2 games at 11, 2 games at 1 p.m., 2 games at 3 p.m., and then our game of the week 0, which is a rematch of the 2023 SFCBL Championship Series between the Palm Beach Extreme and the Florida Pokers. Okay. So that'll be a fun one to watch, both in person and live on GK Live TV. So I guess really my last question for you is, who do you think wins that battle? The rematch.
I have no idea. Let's see who shows up on the field.
There it is.
I just think that for me, I'm just hoping to impact kids, and that's what it's all about. Give them the opportunity that I had, and you never know. Guy gets in touch with, gets around to Joe Gray or the pitching coach or the manager. I was fortunate enough. I go to Cape Cod. It's a pretty funny story, but I walked into the office, and the manager kind of said to me, he looked at me, and he was like, who are you? And I said, I don't know, I'm from Florida Atlantic. He goes, yeah, I'm a little worried about you playing in this league.
Wow.
And I said, what? I said, dude, just write me in the lineup. You'll be fine. and he was dead serious.
Yeah.
Because he had never heard of Florida. He never heard of a player from Florida Atlantic. So, like Harvey Shapiro, but Harvey was a big part of my baseball career. And I hope we have people. I want people to help these kids or be there. You never know where it's coming from. And if you get to the yard every day and you do the right thing and you have an open mind and you just do your stuff and you establish the routine, it's all going to work out. It just you're going to open up a bunch of doors.
Right.
Well,
thank you, Nick, for taking the time to sit down and chat about baseball, the league in general, and everything else we discussed. Again, opening day is 5 days from the day that we're recording. Today is Monday, May 27th.
Yeah.
And Memorial Day as well. Didn't even mention that
Absolutely.
until now, but I want to say thank you to any of those that are listening that served for the country or
Absolutely.
have in the past. I want to say thank you for that, and allowing us to play the games that we love. Right?
No doubt. Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Allow us to do what we do.
Yeah. So, but that wraps up the 7th episode of the SFCBL's Extra Innings podcast. Thank you again, Nick, for joining us. And hope to see all of you at St. Lucia Sports Complex on Saturday for opening day.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.